Michael Ankrah, founder of Hackner Education and author of Learning Naturally. Today I bring you the second installment of the series that I like to call Faith and Learning. And I want to start this, or I started this series because I believe that learning is part of our nature as humans. And from Christianity, Jesus is looked at as a teacher, the rabbi, and for me, he's one of the greatest teachers who lived, through his stories and through his life. He taught us the principles by which we can be successful in our lives here on earth. So today I'm going to look at part two of the sermon that Pastor Mensa Otabil preached on the title, The Power of the Cross. And last week I sort of looked at the sermon and I established one or a few things in there. One being that Jesus had a clear vision because the death by crucifixion was a choice. He could have avoided that, but he chose that because it was going to help him establish the ministry which we are a part of today. And then everyone who follows that principle must understand that you must bear your own cross. That becoming a Christian is not a license from difficulty, but it gives you a meaning. It gives you an understanding of why things are happening the way they are. Okay, but one of the things I said last week is also this, that the clarity of your vision, the conviction that you have in the purpose of your life is going to make whatever the world throws at you bearable, and you'll be able to carry on. Now, in today's sermon, Pastor Otabil sort of referred to various scriptures to assert the fact. The emphasis was on the benefit of that imagery of Jesus on the cross. And one of the things that he spoke about was the fact that the old man was nailed to the cross. And in the Bible, there is a reference to the original sin which was committed by Adam, and Christians believe that once you are born, you are sort of born into that sin. Now, I have a very different take of what the original sin is for every human being, because indeed, once you are born into sin. But I'm going to explain it quite differently. And Pastor Otabil went to the original meaning of the word curse in Hebrew, and there some of the words were to be diminished or to be lowered. It also means to be punished, made miserable, unhappy, and the feeling of wretchedness. Now, let's think of this for a second. What are the sort of things that make us feel diminished? I can think of one: power, authority, the quest for dominance, competition amongst others, trying to outdo somebody. That makes you feel diminished or lowered. Okay, feeling punished by the pressures that we put on ourselves. Okay, misery. Think of so many things. We have set standards for ourselves. There are people who live with 1,000 of what some people live with, and they are happy. And yet people who sometimes, on the face of everything, have plenty, still feel miserable. So that we must be able to, part of what Jesus was trying to do was to, get us out of the curse, the original sin that we are born into. This is what the world makes us feel, because we buy into a lot of implicit theories. We believe that, when it's Easter, you must do this. And coming to the UK, I realize that pressures of Easter, for instance, is quite different from when you are in Ghana, and I'm sure it's different. But who said these? These are the laws of men. These are not the laws set by anybody. We made them. Okay, so Jesus, or the pastor, is saying that part of the symbolism of the cross is that the old man, the original sin, is nailed to the cross and is laid bare. So we as people must be ready to present ourselves to the world that this is who I am. This is what I believe. But if so long as you are trying to chase the things that the world presents, or be what the world says, this is a good standard, this is the level, and this is not, then you are under that law, and the misery, the pain, the feeling diminished is always going to come into play. And that is sort of the curse that Jesus was trying to free us from. And if we think about it from that perspective, then the original sin for all of us is the fact that we are born into a world which is already sort of bought into some established laws. And the laws I'm referring to here are not statutory laws or the Constitution. I am talking of laws in the way that scientists refer to law. So the law of gravity or of evolution. And basically, somebody will sit down, study, and provide an explanation for a certain phenomenon, and eventually, after some observation, that becomes a law. And that is also in our lives. We call a lot of things traditions, culture, practices. And these are not from anywhere. These are things that we as a people have established over time. And they come to rule us, they come to dominate us. And so if we fail, we feel lowered, we feel diminished, we feel miserable. And what Jesus is saying is that he came to rescue us from all that. But the process of doing that, a key part is this, that you must be clear on your purpose, because without a purpose, without knowing where you are going, you cannot get rid of what the world presents to you. You can only let go of the trappings of the world, of the temptations of the world, if you are very, very clear in your vision and in your focus. That is the only time that you'll be able to bear the pain that is going to come with you taking your cross and bearing it. Because the world is going to test your vision. They will test what you believe. And your ability to endure that pain will be based on the strength and the conviction that you have in the path that you want to follow. Okay, so to be able to escape the human law, Jesus is demonstrating to us, and that's why he's such a great teacher. He is demonstrating to us that you must be able to lay yourself bare, strip yourself of everything, of what the world says it's important. And on the cross, he had very little on. But again, there was a symbolism to that, letting go of everything. And then everything, if you think of it, so that happened. And then what happened? There was also the event that Jesus was buried. And again, this is not a literal event. It is a process. And one of the parables that Jesus told, whilst he was teaching, was, the mustard seed. And he was demonstrating a process of growth. Because you see, once you have your vision, once you have your idea will go through the mill. Okay, so bearing your cross is like clearing the field. It's hard work. Okay, clearing the ground, preparing the ground, and then eventually the seed is going to be planted. Jesus was planted, but guess what? After a few days, 3 days, rose up again, and that is like a process of germination. And then you follow your passion, getting rid of the old man and starting anew. This is the principle that Jesus has taught people, and he taught this to the rest of mankind. It's not just a message for Christians, this is for everyone. So if you follow the principles, then of course you are going to reap the benefit. Okay, the promise is not reserved for Christians, it is for all. Jesus came for all mankind. Therefore, you could see, and you have many examples of very, very successful people who are not Christians. But if you trace their lives, and I've read quite a few biographies, you would realize that they went through the same principles of having a clear vision, of being able to stand and pursue their mission in the face of adversity, and bearing, forgetting about the world and saying to the world, this is what I want to pursue. And in the end, they come to win, and their gifts become beneficial to the world. And then also, you will know about Christians who are struggling. They've prayed for a long time, they've prayed for years, they've fasted, they've done everything, and still that breakthrough is not coming. Because, you see, the message of Jesus is not mythical, it's not magical. It's good to pray, it's good to fast, you need to fortify your body because there is a lot of benefit for that. But in the end, that is not going to absolve you from the hard work. It wouldn't absolve you, because I keep asking the question, if you haven't got a vision, if you don't know what you want to do, and you go and pray, and even God decides to bless you, how is He going to bless you, and for what? So it's important that we have that clarity of purpose and our vision, so that we can move forward with that confidence and be able to endure our pain in dignity. But there was one area which I sort of had a divergence with the pastor, and that was when he was explaining the abundance, because indeed, out of the singular act of Jesus on the cross, anybody who followed that, who believed in that, that is the salvation, that is the foundation of Christianity. So that act on the cross gave us the abundance of whatever Jesus gave us. But then the pastor went to Abraham. But I believe that we cannot claim the inheritance of Abraham. You see, in their time, livestock, land, property, and all those things were the thing of their time. But if you go around the world, if you live in the UK, you don't talk of land, you talk of mortgage. If you are in a Scandinavian country, you know that even if you don't own a land, the government will provide something for you in that kind of a welfare state. I believe that the abundance that Jesus presents to us through this death on the cross, through these principles that He established, through His suffering, through laying Himself bare, but still pursuing His vision and choosing what was deemed a shameful death, was for us to understand that if we are able to go through that as well, if we have our vision set, if we are able to live through our pain, allow our idea to be planted into the ground and go through the difficulty, but germinate and nurture it and grow it, we are also going to reap the benefits. Because you see, the pastor, and I think out of our scarcity mentality in the world, especially in the parts of the world where it's very acute, we place a lot of emphasis on monetary wealth, like money is crucial. So we feel that, when one has money, then they have the abundance. But I did some work with children in my school, and we were looking at happiness and the things that make people happy. And in that research, I found three things. Number one is doing something that you really, really love, passion. Okay? And the two is connected to love, having that relationship, and expressing that. So that again is about relationship to people. Okay? And three is about contributing to society, giving back. And you realize that in these things that make people happy, money is not really a factor. Money is important. We need to survive. But the idea that the acquisition of money means achievement, means abundance, means fulfillment is wrong, is a fallacy. Because Mother Teresa was blessed with abundance, you see, but it was not in the form of land and wealth. Martin Luther King was blessed with abundance. It wasn't in the form of land and wealth. It was in the power to lead a people to try and seek, redress from racial segregation and all those things in America. The same was for Nelson Mandela. He had abundance, but he had the abundance of courage, the abundance of fortitude to pursue a cause that will see blacks and whites live, together in harmony in South Africa. That is abundance. Now, these are on the global scale, but each and every one of us can contribute our gifts to the world. I believe that every problem that we see around us is begging for somebody to apply their gifts to it. Every one of us has got something that we can contribute. It doesn't have to be like a Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King. But within our own homes, within our own communities, in your workplace, amongst your friends, there is a contribution. The world is crying for us. And I keep saying that in Ghana, look around us. As many problems as there are, that is the same amount of solutions, that is the same amount of opportunity that is available, waiting and begging for people to take advantage of. So we should get rid of this scarcity mentality, and avoid placing a lot of emphasis on material wealth. The story of the cross requires us to nail our material wealth mentality on the cross, and rather find our purpose, pursue our passions, and be of significance and of value to the world. Because when you do that, you are going to find fulfillment. So I'm just going to recap the lessons from this story of the cross. One, that for each man, you must have a clear vision which will serve as your purpose in this life. Two, each man must be ready to bear their cross. You must be ready to live your suffering in dignity. Christianity shouldn't be something that you go into trying to avoid pain. That is wrong. But you must have a purpose. And one of the things I said is that, I can never experience childbirth. But one of the things I've read is the fact that it's actually the pain, the level of pain is unimaginable. And women go through this and they look forward to doing this. But why are they able to endure this? They are able to endure this because the vision that they have of that beautiful baby, of that child, is greater than the pain of delivering that baby. And for that reason, they are able to go something which is supposed to be very painful. And that is why, if we have a clear vision which we buy into, no amount of pain, as we saw in the story of the cross, will deter us. And then we must also seek to live above the laws of society. Forget about what people say, this is the way this is done, or you must do this. Follow and pursue the dream, the passion, the vision that you set for yourself. And then we must also seek to bless the world with our abundance. Fulfillment does not come within ourselves. It comes from when we know that we have been of value to ourselves and our family and of our society and of our world. So it's a step-by-step process. And Jesus, out of his singular act, was able to be of benefit to many. And that is what we should seek to. And then finally, out of the abundance is our gift. It is not money. It is not land. So if you are a singer, if you are a speaker, whatever you are able to do, that is your gift, and you must look for a way to bless your world with those gifts. My name is Michael Ankrah, and I believe that you may have taken a thing or two from this. Leave your comments at the bottom of this video, and if you like this video, I'll also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that the subsequent videos will just come to you automatically. Thank you for watching, and I shall be with you.